Welcome to part two. We're going to continue on, but this morning I was looking at it. I made a couple changes, which led to another change, which means instead of trying to confuse the entire situation and myself, I decided to just go like this and hit the delete key. And I came up with a different version of that because I wanted to cut the verse in half and add some pre-chorus and a chorus, and one thing led to another, which then led to me redoing it. And here is the latest version inside of Easy Keys. So yeah, that's just going to end there. But this is very raw. Even in its new form, it has all kinds of changes we're going to do. But first things first, I copied this idea and then I pasted it into another track inside of Easy Keys. So then I could just go like this and do the trick we did yesterday of saying simple single chords and replace. And that just takes those chord ideas, puts it into a simple chord with a bass note. Now let's go back. Now, I would say the thing worth considering here is that Easy Keys gives us that really human feel and the complex notes, and we don't want to quantize that unless we absolutely have to, which means things can get a little bit more complex, more so than if you just dragged in simple patterns from whatever VSTI or where it's all quantized, it's all to the grid. The trick here is going to be taking this original idea from Easy Keys, making it our own, but not killing all that humanity. So let's see if we can do that. First thing we need to do now is say that, okay, our intro has changed, so let's adjust our arranger so that, and we're going to set it to 8th grid so we can do that quicker. Our verse now is going to be 4, and our bridge moves up, and our chorus, but there's going to be pre-chorus now. Or I should say it's going to be pre-chorus, then chorus. And the chorus is going to be 4. And the ending is going to start off at 4, but all be cut up into probably 2.5. So let's write in with our pencil tool the missing part here, which we'll call this pre-chorus now. All right, so now we're set up to drag in from Easy Keys. And first, though, we're going to call this piano, so there's less confusion. So that'll be our main piano track. This will be our chord track. And then we'll duplicate that and just call it bass. That way we have things more simple and easier to understand what we're doing in the future. Bass. Okay, so let's take our first intro notes up here, bring them into the timeline, and because I put it on the wrong track, it created an extra track which we can remove. All right, now let's see, let's zoom in. Make sure all the notes are in there within that measure. And just got to make sure that they're pretty much on the grid, so it's looking okay. And let's take the next idea of the verse. Let's drag it in. And that's with the verse or the arranger track looks good. No overhanging notes. And let's do the same with the bridge notes. Let's bring them in there. That looks good. Now the chorus, I think this bit here, you notice how it came into Cubase as 2 full measures. But if you look down here, it's definitely not 2 full measures. It's like a measure and a quarter. So here's the first instance where we have to zoom in and make sure we don't mess things up and get the next, everything that comes after it, that is in the correct form. So I think this line right here is where this can be moved to, and that should be correct there. Now we can adjust the arranger with that, move the chorus arranger over, and now drag in the chorus bits. And so that's all lined up. And if we play the piano inside the DAW, these beats should all be correct, but we're going to test that right now. Yeah, that's right. So now let's go towards the end, move that up, and the ending too might need some work. Let's see. Drag that in, and we'll play and see if that is in the right place. That might have to be brought up there. Well, let's listen. Oh, let's take that back, move it back, and try again. Yeah, we may add a note or two there and change things. So let's take these two and glue them up. And because these are fairly simple chord situation, let's just go and project chord track, create chord symbols. Interesting. So these didn't create chord symbols. Let's, for whatever reason, let's cut it there and try that. We'll use the hotkey this time faster. And then that works. So sometimes you get a situation where, again, Cubase interprets these chords differently, and you may have to just do some editing like that. But we got that working, so let's then take these two parts and glue them. So we got that part, and then we got all the other parts. Let's take these parts now, glue them together so we can see them in the editor as one. And because we went and created the simple chords for all these kind of fast rhythmic chord changes, hopefully we can drag this in on our chord track and cut it here, because we already have those chords there. Delete that and do our fast way of doing it with the hotkey and create the chord symbols. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Except, okay, now let's just delete that and drag the whole thing in again. So we have that. And now we can glue the whole thing together. And go from the beginning. So we've got our piano notes, we've got our chords. Now let's separate the chords into the bass. So let's move this out of the way for a sec, and let's say, all right, so first of all, let's just hit our Alt key in Windows, drag it down, make that copy. So that's again back to the chords track, and we want to delete, separate out those bass notes, so we have just the simple chords, and in this track the bass we do the opposite as we did earlier, delete those. So now we're kind of back to where we were, except now we do have the notes in here. We might have to make a few changes. Let's zoom in here, that chord. Let's see what's going on over here with the main notes. Get on the right track. And let's see, we might move this to the beginning of that measure, and that solves that little mystery. And we're going to get rid of these notes at the back end here. Get rid of that too. And I'm thinking, well, let's just listen to the way it is currently. Yeah, I'm thinking these notes will be the last note. Extend that out. But I think we're going to move this around. I'm thinking this note needs to be nicely extended in. Same with this note. That'll sound better. Let's listen. And I don't know if I want that super low note. Let's just to end it on a I think we can do something better there, but I don't want to waste too much time on it. But that's worse. That might be better. So you end at not going down totally, but you end on more of a happy note, but it's fine for now. These two notes being extended help the transition, and I want to, make this transition to the ending smoother or more logical. So I'm going to start getting rid of some of that pattern, and it's going to drag a note to extend in there. We might take this note up so that the listener is kind of taken up to this high note. So let's try that. In fact, let's change our quantize, well, not quantizing, just our grid. So we're not quantizing anything up here. That's simply the grid. You have to hit the actual Q button for it to quantize. So if you're wondering if I was quantizing when no, I'm just changing the grid up there, not actually hitting the quantize. All right. And let's take that note. We might get rid of that note, and maybe this note. We'll backtrack if we have to. And I'm thinking up and make that a little more velocity. And I'm missing that note there, so let's add a couple. Try it again. I could do a little more tweaking, but I think it's better than it was. grab that little note, drag it out. Not bad for just a quick remake of that. Okay, good enough for now. Let's revisit that later, but let's go to the beginning. So let's select the intro and hit P1 and we're set to go. Now we got to decide now if a person wants to start off on a heavy big chord or to slowly move in. So let's in fact, we might get rid of that. And maybe we want to get rid of that completely. Interesting. So obviously it needs a little something more there. So let's backtrack a little bit. And I'm thinking, we're just experimenting. We can always just go right on back to where we were. But let's just start messing around with stuff and experiment. I don't like the second note there for sure, at least right there. So let's zoom in. Do not like the second note here. It just seems cheap. Let's try something else. In fact, and let's add some missing link, but I messed that up. Let's hit the right key to copy and get it right. Let's try that. No, way too light. No, that is not working. No, don't like that at all. So we might just drag them both out. But there's something missing there, but in context with other instruments, okay, let's take that and let's try that there. And give that a little more spice. Don't like it, but don't want to spend too much time on it. Oh, that's terrible. Great job. Kind of, but again, don't want to spend forever on this. Let's start from the beginning. Well, we might as well commit to that note for now. Plenty of other things to do. fact, I want this note to hold out longer, drag out longer, so the ending is more like it's going to hold on there for longer. Let's see if that makes it better or worse. But then these have to sustain too. I think that's slightly better. Slightly better. Again, you could spend an hour on each edit and get nowhere. So you do have to keep things in context of the bigger picture. The song won't be focused just on this piano track. It's going to have strings and bass. So you have to think, okay, you don't have to make this piano piece perfect. It's going to be part of a bigger thing. So that's why we're not going to spend a ton of time. We'll go through it one more time for this part of the video and see if there's any other changes we want to make. I think generally these two can go down a little bit in velocity. I think I'll take this note up in velocity just to kind of hammer it home that it's transitioning to something new. So that needs to hold out longer. Yeah, it's probably better before, but let's drag that right in there. Some overlap. Yeah, good enough for now. Zoom out. And because I'm trying to do all these videos literally in one take with no editing, I better stop here before I really goof something up. And then part 3, I think, will be the most interesting part, where we add the strings and bass and other instruments and how it kind of comes together. You know, projects like this are a lot of fun. Main thing to remember is, you know, if you're going to easy keys, which is, again, has that human feel, don't quantize unless you have to, and that's what we're going to try to do here. So far, we haven't really quantized any, but they're pretty much on the grid to start with here. So in this case, it's working pretty good. I don't think we're even going to have to quantize the piano at all. Hope you enjoyed some of this video. Maybe you got something out of it. And we'll see you on part 3 next time.